The old woman slowly opened her eyes, squinting against the bright lights that seemed to be getting dimmer by the second. She looked around the room, noticing the white walls, the white bed sheets, and the people in white coats that were surrounding her. She was in a hospital. How did she get there? What had happened? It all came rushing back to her now. The museum, the priceless artifact, the security guard that had caught her red-handed, the police, the sirens. But she hadn't done anything wrong, not really. The artifact wasn't priceless, and she had merely admired it from afar. She hadn't even touched it. So why had they arrested her? A doctor in a white coat approached her and introduced himself as Dr. Evans. "You were brought in here unconscious," he said, "and we ran some tests, but everything seems to be fine. Do you remember what happened?" He looked at her expectantly. The old woman shook her head. "No, I don't. I'm sorry." Dr. Evans nodded understandingly. It was obvious that she was an art thief, and that she had tried to pull off one last big heist before being caught and sent to prison for the rest of her life. Her last job would have been a big one, too, stealing the crown jewels. Who wouldn't try to steal the crown jewels? And with the way things had gone, she must have been desperate. So desperate that she had put her own life on the line. But this wasn't the first time she had pulled something like this off. There was the Mona Lisa, the Venus de Milo, and the Great Wave off Kanagawa, just to name a few. For decades, she had managed to outsmart the world's greatest security systems and walk away with priceless artifacts. The woman was a legend in the world of art theft, and her legend only grew when she pulled off the impossible and stole the crown jewels. Except she hadn't stolen the crown jewels. As soon as she got back to her hotel room after the heist, she had placed the jewels inside a package and called up the royal family's private courier service. She had then given him the address of a hotel in Normandy, where she would be staying for the next couple of weeks, and told him to meet her there. All he had to do was pick up the package and deliver it to Buckingham Palace. Simple enough, but apparently the delivery hadn't gone through because the Queen was furious. Not only had her precious crown jewels been stolen, but the thief had also managed to mock her and make a fool out of her royal guards. The Queen was so angry that she had ordered for the thief to be caught and locked up for the rest of her life. No matter what the cost, the old woman knew that she had to clear her name or she would spend the rest of her life behind bars. And so she did the only thing she could think of. She reached out to her old friend, the infamous art dealer, Andrew Gamble. The old woman and Andrew had worked together on several occasions, pulling off some daring heists and selling the artifacts to private collectors for millions of dollars. But those days were over now. Andrew was retired and had sworn off doing anything that could land him in prison. But the old woman was hoping that their friendship would be enough to convince him to help her out. She explained everything to him over the phone, how she had been set up and how she needed his help to clear her name. To her surprise, Andrew agreed. When he met her at the appointed spot, she handed him the package. "Take this back to the hotel in Normandy," she instructed. "The courier will be expecting us there." As Andrew took the package from her, he couldn't help but notice that it was slightly bigger than the one that he had delivered to Buckingham Palace. Curious, he asked the old woman about it. She merely smiled enigmatically and said, "It's just a little souvenir I picked up from the palace." Andrew shook his head, chuckling at how even in her old age she still had a sense of humor. He took the package back to the hotel in Normandy, where he was met by the same courier that had picked up the jewels. The courier was surprised to see Andrew instead of the old woman, but he didn't ask any questions. He merely took the package from Andrew and disappeared into thin air. Andrew knew that the game was afoot. The old woman had set him up, and she had played her part well. He could already imagine the headlines in tomorrow's paper. "Old woman arrested for stealing the crown jewels." The old woman had managed to make him an accessory to her crime, and he would be going down with her. But in the end, it didn't matter because she was too smart for them. They would never catch her.